Hello everyone, how you doing? I hope you're all doing really well today. I'm Lindsay, your host of the Heavy Metal Journal and writer for Lamb Goat and the Moshville Times, and I'm back with New Metal Monday, where I talk about my favourite new releases of the week. And this week has been the biggest drop for metal albums of 2025 so far. It's been an absolutely mental week for releases. I have 8 brand new albums that I want to talk about this week, and I'm just going to jump straight in and get through them as quickly as possible so this video doesn't take too long. Okay, so the first album I want to talk about this week, of course, is Cradle of Filth with The Screaming of the Valkyries. This is the 14th studio album from the international gothic symphonic black metal band. Now, I say international, I know they originate from the UK, however, their lineup now consists of members from all across the globe, so I've coined them as international now. Now, if you're not a big fan of Cradle of Filth, I suggest that you listen to this album anyway because it is absolutely fantastic and you might be surprised. Their last 4 albums, including this one, have been absolutely fantastic, but this one in particular is extremely good and it really focuses on that early 2000s Midian kind of sound with a lot of their early 90s elements thrown into the mix as well. So you can expect a lot of gothic grandiosity, really catchy hooks and addictive melodies. This album is so ridiculously catchy and I cannot stop listening to it. Now, of course, you have all of the trademark Cradle of Filth sounds. You've got that very grotesque, opulent kind of dramatic symphonic side of things, but you've also got the extreme metal side of things thrown in there too. And it's a very guitar driven record this time round. So you can expect a lot of really cool, intricate riffs and screaming solos. Now, this is the first album to feature Zoe Fedorov on backing vocals and the keyboards as well. And it does have that very typical Cradle of Filth style keyboard synth sound to it, but her vocals really stand out, especially compared to the previous female vocals in the band's history, purely because they are very rich, they're very ethereal, and they're very light, but at the same time they are incredibly powerful and they contrast really well with Danny's very familiar screams, growls, and rasps. Now, if you want a full breakdown of this album track by track in a lot more detail, I wrote an album review for Lamb Goat, which will be linked in the description box below, but I cannot get over how amazing this album is. It is so ridiculously catchy and definitely one of their strongest albums that they've released in recent times. So if you are a fan of the likes of Flesh God Apocalypse, Septic Flesh, Hecate Enthroned, Dimmu Borgir, that kind of sound, definitely get onto this one. But like I said, even if you're not the biggest fan of Cradle of Filth, give this record a shot anyway because it really does go back to that Midian, thornography, nymphetamine kind of era with a little bit of Dusk and Her Embrace thrown into. Definitely check it out. Okay, so next up on my list, I have Bloodywood with New Delhi, and this is the second studio album from the modern folk metal band from India. Now, last night, so Sunday night, depending on when you're watching this video, I went to see them live in Glasgow, and they were absolutely outstanding. The energy and the passion was just so addictive at their live show. So if you ever get a chance to go and see them, if they come to a city near you, definitely check them out because it's such an electrifying show, and I'm honestly still smiling from it just thinking about it because it was just absolutely fantastic. Now, they incorporate a lot of traditional Indian sounds and instruments and tones in this album, combined with modern metal and a little bit of new metal. Now, normally I don't like rap in my metal, but this works incredibly well, and it is so high octane, bouncy, fun, and extremely powerful and catchy. But not only do you have the modern metal and the folk Indian influences in there, you've got a little bit of electronica throughout there too, and the breakdowns are beyond a joke. They are ridiculous. So if you are a fan of the likes of System of a Down, Electric Callboy, Slipknot with a little bit of baby metal in there, this one is definitely for you. But I cannot get over how fantastic this album is, ridiculously catchy, it's something different, it's really charming, but so powerful at the same time. Check it out. Okay, so next up on my list, I have Hidden Intent with Terraform, and this is the 4th studio album from the Australian thrash metal band. Now, this album is fully entrenched in that 80s Bay Area and Teutonic area thrash metal, so you can expect a lot of aggression, furious speed, rampaging riffs, but you've also got a lot of really exciting mid-tempo groove stomps that are incredibly devastating at the same time. It's punchy, like I said, it's aggressive, it's bouncy, but it also has a very dark edge to it. But this is through and through 80s thrash metal at its absolute finest. And the vocal style is very raspy and venomous, but it also maintains a very melodic edge to it too. Not to mention the drums in this are absolutely ridiculous. Blast beats and rhythmical thunderous drumming goes on forever, chugging bass lines, and it's just a really exciting album to listen to. So if you are a fan of the likes of Testament, Creator, Slayer, that kind of thrash sound, this one is definitely for you. But I love old school thrash metal that alternates between rampaging speed and all of that groove-laden stompy stomps. Definitely check this out if that's your thing too. Okay, so next up on my list, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing this band's name correctly, so please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section, but I have Drudkh with Shadowplay, and this is the 30th studio album from the Ukrainian folk black metal band. Now this album is quite expansive at just under an hour long, and it opens up with somebody walking through a forest, so you can hear the leaves crunching underneath their feet on a backdrop of ethereal guitar tones. There's something very ominous yet relaxing about this, as it builds the ambience and it builds the anticipation, and then it suddenly launches into a plethora of blistering blast beats and frantic riffs. There's something very melancholic and melodic about this record, as well as it being brutal. You have a lot of really cool pagan themes behind it. It's densely atmospheric, especially with the haunting keyboards. So if you are a fan of the likes of Wolves in the Throne Room, Winterfilleth, or Fen, you're definitely going to want to get onto this one. Okay, so next up on my list I have an album that completely blew me away, and that's Aran Angmar with Ordo Diabolicum. And this is the third studio album from the international black metal band. Now I say international because their members are from Greece, Italy and the Netherlands, and I got a huge Hellenic black metal vibe from this record along with occult themes. There's something very ritualistic and raw about this record. It's incredibly dark and atmospheric, but with the melodic black metal side of things, it's incredibly rich and captivating to listen to as well. Haunting chants, primal throat singing, really dense atmosphere, tremolo picking, blistering blast beats. It's an incredibly immersive record. So if you are a fan of the likes of Rotten Christ, Old Man's Child, Septic Flesh, that kind of sound, this one is definitely for you. But I love the Hellenic black metal sound, and there's huge elements of that in this record, and there's just something very addictive about it. Definitely check it out. Okay, so next up on my list, I have Spiritworld with Hell Dorado, and this is the third studio album from the death thrash western band from the US. Now, I absolutely loved their last album, and this one is no exception. So you have all of this really cool, groove-laden death metal stompy stomps, but you also have a little bit of hardcore in there, especially when it comes to the vocal style. But you also have a lot of horror themes and also that Americana Western kind of style to it as well. It sounds like a lot, but it works incredibly well and it is ridiculously addictive to listen to. Now, what I like the most about this particular record is it is a short, sharp jab to the jugular at just over 28 minutes long. So it's over before you even realize it and you're like, what the hell just happened here? And you have to listen to it again. I loved this. The concept about it is absolutely fantastic. It's something a little bit different. It has that kind of style of groove-laden death stompy stomps, but it's also got a little bit of thrash in there with a lot of Western and horror themes in there too. So if you are a fan of the likes of Bolt Thrower, Pantera, Sepultura, a little bit of Slayer in there, that kind of sound, this one is definitely for you. But check it out, it's an absolutely fantastic record, really bouncy, really punchy, and really fun. Okay, so next up on my list, I am probably going to pronounce this incorrectly, but I have Sunvher with Arovmia. And this is the second studio album from the post-black metal project from Chile. Now, this is a solo project, and we all know that I absolutely love my solo projects, and the more atmospheric and dynamic, the better. This one is no exception. This album is stunning. There's cool electronica moments, there's tremolo picking, devastating blast beats, and it's a sonic soundscape which is incredibly brutal, but it's also dreamlike at the same time. The vocal style alternates between those dissonant black metal screams and rasps, but they also incorporate a lot of clean vocals into the mix too, which are very light and ethereal and otherworldly. I really love the electronica and the synth moments in this, and it's an incredibly immersive and captivating record. So if you are a fan of the likes of Alcest, Skal, Harakiri for the Sky, that kind of sound, this one is definitely for you, especially if you like Alcest, because I got huge Alcest vibes from this. Definitely check it out. Okay, so last up on my list, but certainly by no means least, I have Marble Orchard with Ruminations of Ruin. And this is the second studio album from the doom gothic metal band from the US. Now, this is a sprawling musical masterpiece that incorporates a lot of church organs, doomy slamming guitars, thunderous drums, chugging bass lines, and these beautiful, captivating, doomy gothic vocals. This is an incredibly stunning record. It's incredibly melancholic and somber, very dark and atmospheric, but richly melodic at the same time, and it's emotively captivating. So if you are a fan of the likes of Typo Negative, I got huge Typo Negative vibes from this, especially with the vocal style. If you're also a fan of the likes of My Dying Bride and Paradise Lost, this one is definitely for you, but definitely check this out, especially if you like your melancholic doom that has a lot of gothic elements in there too. Don't sleep on this one. And that's it for this week's New Metal Monday. Once again, comment down below to let me know what you think of today's records, and if you have any of your own recommendations, please let me know and I will get them added to my ever-growing list. If you use Spotify, make sure to check out the playlist that I've got linked in the description box below, where I add all of the albums that I talk about in my New Metal Monday videos, so definitely give that a follow, as that gets updated every single Monday when one of these videos goes live. If you don't use Spotify though, all of the band's Bandcamp links or YouTube channels will be linked down there as well, just so you guys can find the music that I'm talking about as easily as possible. But once again, thank you so much for all of your support. I really do appreciate you all as always, and I will see you very soon in my next video.